Aging is not for the faint of heart. It challenges you in ways you never anticipated, physically, emotionally, and socially. One day you wake up and realize that the world no longer revolves around you as it once did. The phone rings less often. People don't rely on you the same way they used to. The roles that once defined your identity begin to fade. It's unsettling, isn't it? Life in later years brings its own set of challenges, but also remarkable opportunities. This stage of life is not just about slowing down, it's about reflection, growth, and embracing wisdom. However, to fully experience the richness of these years, we must confront certain truths. Some may be difficult to accept, but within them lie the keys to peace, purpose, and fulfillment. So today, let's talk about 5 truths about aging and how accepting them can lead to a life that is more meaningful and joyful. 1. You are no longer the center of attention. And that's okay. For much of your life, you played a central role. You were the one people turned to, whether it was your children seeking guidance, colleagues relying on your expertise, or friends depending on your presence. Your opinion mattered. Your presence was sought after. You were needed. But then, something changed. The world kept moving forward, while you felt as though you were standing still. Younger generations took center stage. New voices filled the spaces where yours once echoed. Suddenly, life wasn't centered around you the way it had been before. It's an unsettling shift, isn't it? The invitations become fewer, the calls less frequent, and the roles that once defined you seem to slip through your fingers. Society, so enamored with youth and progress, often overlooks those with the most wisdom. And in those quiet moments, a painful question may arise. Do I even matter as much anymore? This is where many people get stuck, dwelling in nostalgia, longing for a time when they felt truly seen. But here's the truth. Your worth was never tied to how many people needed you. That was an illusion, a role you played but not the essence of who you are. If you're willing to shift your perspective, you'll see that this stage of life offers something far greater than being in the spotlight. What if stepping out of the spotlight isn't a loss, but a gift? For years, your life was dictated by obligations, responsibilities, and expectations. You were constantly pulled in different directions, always fulfilling someone else's needs. But now, you have something priceless: freedom. No longer being the center of attention means you are no longer performing for an audience. You don't have to prove your worth by how much you do for others. You don't have to live under the weight of expectations. Instead, you get to live for yourself, on your own terms, in a way that is richer and more fulfilling than ever before. Think about it. How much of your energy over the years was spent worrying about what others thought? How many decisions did you make out of obligation rather than genuine desire? The truth is, when the world stops revolving around you, you gain something invaluable: the ability to prioritize what truly makes you happy. You can invest in relationships that bring you joy, rather than maintaining connections out of obligation. You can spend time on passions you once set aside, rather than always catering to the needs of others. And perhaps most importantly, you can embrace quiet moments, not as signs of loneliness, but as opportunities to reconnect with yourself. The world may not be watching you as closely as before, but that doesn't mean your life is any less meaningful. In fact, it might mean it's more meaningful than ever, because now you get to live for you, and that is a freedom worth celebrating. 2. Your body is changing, and that's okay. There was a time when your body felt invincible. You walked effortlessly, climbed stairs without hesitation, carried groceries without a second thought. You took these abilities for granted, until one day, you didn't. Now the steps feel steeper. Getting out of a chair requires a moment of pause. Aches that once faded overnight linger a little longer. The reflection in the mirror no longer matches the image of yourself that you remember. And sometimes, that change is difficult to accept. Society doesn't make it any easier. Everywhere you look, there's an obsession with youth. Creams to erase wrinkles, treatments to fight aging, diets to turn back time. And yet, no one tells you the most important truth. Aging is not something to fight, it's something to honor. It's natural to feel frustrated when your body no longer moves as easily as it once did. You might feel as though it's betraying you, as if time is taking something away. But what if, instead of seeing these changes as a loss, you saw them as proof of a life well lived? Every wrinkle, every scar, every gray hair is a testament to the years you've experienced, the challenges you've overcome, and the moments you've cherished. Your body has carried you through every storm, every victory, every heartbreak. It has healed from injuries, recovered from sleepless nights, and adapted to every change life has thrown at it. It is not failing you. It is evolving, just as you are. The key is not to resist these changes, but to work with them, to honor your body for all it has done, and to treat it with the care it deserves. Aging gracefully doesn't mean pretending that nothing is changing. It means learning to work with those changes rather than against them. Your body is not what it used to be, but that doesn't mean it's weak. It simply requires a different kind of care. This is the time to listen to it, to nurture it, and to respect its limits while keeping it strong. Movement might look different now. Perhaps a long walk replaces a morning run. Stretching and yoga take the place of heavy lifting. But movement still matters. Not to fight aging, but to support the body that has supported you for so long. And let's talk about self-perception. You are not less valuable because your body has changed. You are not less worthy because your hair is gray or your skin has softened. If anything, you are more experienced, more resilient, more in tune with what truly matters. Society tries to convince us that youth is the peak of life. But what does youth have that you don't? You have wisdom. You have depth. You have a lifetime of stories etched into every line on your face. That is not something to erase, that is something to celebrate. Your body is not something to resent, it is something to thank. It still allows you to embrace loved ones, to feel the warmth of the sun on your skin, to experience the simple joys of life. So rather than mourning what is no longer, shift your focus to what still is. You are still here, you are still capable. And when you treat your body with care, it will continue to carry you forward, just as it always has. 3. Not everyone will be there forever. There was a time when your life was filled with voices, laughter echoing through your home, phone calls from friends, gatherings. That felt endless. You never had to question whether people would be there because they always were, until one day they weren't. Maybe it was gradual, a slow drifting apart as life took people in different directions. Or maybe it was sudden, an empty chair at the table, a phone call that changed everything. Loss is one of the harshest realities of aging, and no matter how much we prepare for it, it still takes our breath away. It's not just about the people who pass away, it's also about the relationships that fade. Friends who once seemed inseparable grow distant. Family members become busy with their own lives. There are moments when you look around and realize that your circle is smaller than it once was. That realization can be painful. The absence of someone who once meant everything to you is a weight that never fully disappears. Grief doesn't have an expiration date. And some days, the silence left behind feels unbearable. Here's the truth. Loss is not just about absence. It is also a reminder of deep, profound love. The pain of missing someone means they mattered. It means they left an imprint so strong that even time cannot erase it. And while nothing can replace those we've lost, there is something we can do. Honor them by continuing to live. Because if they were here, they would want that for us. They would want us to cherish the memories, not drown in them. They would want us to keep moving forward, even when it feels impossible. Loss changes you, but it does not have to break you. The people who have been a part of your life, whether for decades or only a short time, have left something with you. Their laughter still echoes in your memories. Their wisdom still influences your choices, and their love still exists within you. No one is truly gone as long as they are remembered. That is why grief is not just about saying goodbye. It is about carrying forward the love that remains. But even as we hold on to the past, we must also remain open to the present. Life does not stop because people leave. It continues, and so must we. That does not mean forgetting. It does not mean replacing. It means allowing new connections to form, even in unexpected places. A kind word from a neighbor, a shared moment with a stranger, a friendship that blossoms later in life. These relationships may not have the same history, but they can still bring meaning. If we close ourselves off to new experiences out of fear of future loss, we deny ourselves the very thing we seek: connection, warmth, and companionship. And then there's the most important relationship of all, the one you have with yourself. The quiet moments that once felt like loneliness can instead become opportunities for reflection and self-discovery. You are still here. Your story is still unfolding. And while not everyone will be there forever, the love you have shared, the lessons you have learned, and the impact you have made will always remain. Life is measured not by who stays, but by the depth of the love we give. And that is something that never truly disappears. Change has never asked for permission. It arrives unannounced, reshaping the world around you before you even have time to adjust. One day, everything feels familiar. Your home, your routines, your relationships. Then suddenly the places you once knew shift. The people you once relied on move away or pass on. And the rhythms of life you once found comfort and are no longer the same. It can feel as if life is moving forward without you leaving, you standing, still watching everything transform. And in those moments, it's easy to feel lost. There's something unsettling about change, especially as we grow older. It reminds us that nothing is permanent, not our roles, not our surroundings, not even our own abilities. The house that once echoed with the voices of family may now be quiet. The job that wants to find your purpose is no longer part of your daily life. Even the way you move through the world feels different. While some changes bring excitement, others bring grief. Grief for the life that once was, for the people who are no longer here, for the parts of yourself that feel like they're slipping away. It's tempting to resist change, to try to hold on to what was, but fighting the inevitable only brings frustration and sadness. The past is not something we can reclaim, no matter how much we long for it. Yet, within the uncertainty of change lies an opportunity, one that so many overlook, because change, while difficult, does not just take things away, it also offers something new. The question is, are you willing to see it? What if instead of resisting change, you leaned into it? What if instead of mourning what was, you opened yourself to what could be? Change is not just an ending, it is also a beginning. It clears the way for new experiences, new connections, and even a new understanding of yourself. The things you once feared losing, your routines, your roles, even your sense of purpose are not disappearing. They are evolving just as you are. And with that evolution comes a choice to clinging to the past or to embrace the present. Think of the times in your life when change felt unbearable. Yet looking back, you see how it led you somewhere unexpected, somewhere better. Maybe a job loss led you to a passion you never would have pursued otherwise. Maybe a painful goodbye made space for new, meaningful relationships. Maybe a health challenge forced you to slow down, only for you to discover joy in stillness. Change has always been part of your journey, and it has always shaped you into who you are today. This stage of life is no different. Adapting doesn't mean forgetting the past. It doesn't mean you don't miss what was. It simply means you are choosing to live fully in what is. Learn something new. Let go of what no longer serves you. Find beauty in what remains. Because the truth is, change will come whether we resist it or not. But when we welcome it, when we trust that life still has more to offer, we stop merely surviving and we start truly living, and that is a choice worth making. 5. Happiness is a choice. Happiness, so many spend their lives chasing it, believing it's something just out of reach, something that will arrive when circumstances finally align. Maybe it will come when the aches and pains subside, when loneliness fades, when the past no longer haunts you. Maybe it will come when life feels as full and vibrant as it once did. What if that's not how happiness works? What if happiness isn't something that comes to you, but something you create? It's easy to believe that happiness depends on external factors, good health, financial stability, strong relationship, and while these things certainly contribute to joy, they're not its foundation. If happiness depended only on perfect circumstances, how would anyone find joy in life's hardest seasons? And yet people do. There are those who face unimaginable losses, but still smile. Those who endure hardships, but still wake up with gratitude. What's their secret? It's simple. They choose happiness, even when life gives them reasons not to. Making that choice isn't always easy. There will be days when the weight of the past feels heavier than the hope of the future. Days when you miss the people you've lost, when your body doesn't cooperate, when the world seems to have moved on without you. On those days, happiness may feel like a distant memory. This is where the real power lies. Because even in those moments, you still have control over one thing: your perspective. You can choose to focus on what remains rather than what has been lost. You can choose gratitude over regret, presence over nostalgia, joy over bitterness, and that choice made daily has the power to transform everything. Happiness is not about ignoring pain or pretending that life is perfect. It's about shifting your focus, training your mind to see the beauty in what remains rather than dwelling on what's been lost. Every day presents a choice. Will you let life's challenges define your outlook, or will you find joy in the simple moments? The warmth of the sun on your skin, the sound of laughter, the comfort of a familiar routine. These moments are not insignificant. They are the building blocks of a happy life, if only you choose to notice them. One of the greatest tools for happiness is gratitude. Gratitude rewires the mind to see abundance rather than lack, to recognize blessings instead of burdens. It doesn't erase hardship, but it makes the good stand out more clearly. Try this each morning. Name one thing you are grateful for. It could be as simple as a good cup of coffee or a peaceful walk outside. Over time, this small habit shifts your perspective from scarcity to sufficiency, from regret to appreciation. Another key to happiness is letting go of regrets. The past is unchangeable, and carrying its weight only robs you of joy in the present. Forgive yourself, let go of the what-ifs and the missed opportunities. Your life is not defined by the moment you wish had gone differently. It is defined by the moment you choose to embrace. Now, happiness is not a destination. It is not waiting for you somewhere down the road. It is here now, in this moment, available to you if you choose it, and the more you choose it, the more it grows. Until one day you realize that happiness was never something to chase. It was something to create all along. So, is aging about loss, or is it about transformation? Is it about fading away, or is it about stepping into a new kind of freedom? The answer lies in how you choose to see it. Yes, there are harsh truths. Your role in the world shifts, your body changes, people come and go, and life continues to evolve whether you're ready for it or not. Within each of these truths lies an opportunity to embrace who you are now, instead of mourning who you used to be. An opportunity to live with intention rather than holding onto the past. You are not disappearing, you are evolving. Every wrinkle, every gray hair, every scar tells a story of resilience. Every shift in your life, no matter how painful, carries the possibility of new beginnings. Aging is not something to fear, it is something to honor. Because with each passing year, you gain something that no youth, no fleeting moment, no temporary success could ever provide. Wisdom. And wisdom is what allows you to see that true happiness is not found in resisting change, but in embracing it. So ask yourself, what if, instead of longing for what was, you fully stepped into what is what if? Instead of resisting the inevitable, you made peace with it. What if, instead of seeing aging as an ending, you saw it as the beginning of a new chapter, one written entirely on your terms? The choice is yours. The world may not tell you this, but this stage of life is yours to shape. The most beautiful part? It is still unfolding. Aging is not about retreating into the background. It is about stepping forward with confidence, armed with the wisdom of a life well lived. This is your time to focus on what truly matters. To invest in the relationships that bring you joy. To immerse yourself in the passions you may have once set aside. And to experience the beauty of the present moment with an open heart. You have spent so much of your life fulfilling roles, meeting expectations, and carrying responsibilities. Now, the greatest responsibility you have is to yourself, to live fully, unapologetically, and with purpose. So let go of the idea that your best days are behind you. They are not. The best days are the ones you choose to fill with, meaning no matter your age, happiness is not found in trying to relive the past. It is found in embracing the richness of the present. It is in the simple moments. A deep conversation with an old friend, the laughter of a grandchild, the quiet peace of a morning spent with a cup of coffee and your thoughts. These are the moments that define a life well lived. And remember this, you are still here. You are still capable. You are still writing your story. There is no expiration date on purpose, on joy, on love. There is no timeline that says when you should stop growing, stop learning, stop dreaming. Life does not slow down for us to catch up. It moves forward, and so should we. So take a deep breath, embrace where you are, and step into this chapter with courage. Because the truth is, the best may still be yet to come. If you could go back in time and speak to your younger self, what would you say? Would you warn them, guide them, or simply whisper, "You are going to be okay"? I'm 80 years old, and if I could sit across from my younger self, I wouldn't whisper. I'd speak with urgency. Because time is a gift we don't realize we're losing until it's almost gone. One day you wake up and the reflection in the mirror isn't who you used to be. The face is older, the years have passed, and you wonder, did I do it right? I don't have all the answers, but I have something better. The lessons I wish I had learned sooner. And if you're here, that means you still have time. Time to live, time to make sure that when you reach my age, you won't look back with regret, but with pride. There comes a moment in life when you stop counting forward and start counting backward. Not how many years have I lived, but how many do I have left? When I was younger, I believed life was about chasing something. Success, approval, achievement. I thought happiness was something you earned, not something you chose. I spent years worrying about things that never mattered, pleasing people who never cared, and postponing joy for a future I assumed was guaranteed. But time has a way of teaching you what truly matters. Now I see it clearly. Life isn't about adding more years, it's about adding more life to the years you have. If I could go back, I wouldn't tell myself to work harder or chase more. I'd tell myself to live now, before the days slip through my fingers, because one day they do, and when they're gone. Before we begin, I'd really appreciate it if you like this video. It helps me keep sharing more important lessons. If you haven't subscribed yet, I highly recommend hitting the subscribe button and turning on the notification bell so you don't miss any future videos. Also, if you enjoy this video, please comment 1. If you don't, comment 0 so I know how to improve. Now, let's get started. Worry is the thief of time. It will never fix your problems, never rewrite the past, and never guarantee the future, yet how much of life is wasted on it? I used to think that if I worried enough, I could control the outcome, that somehow overthinking would prepare me for what was to come. But worry doesn't prepare you, it only drains you. The truth is, most of the things you fear will never happen, and the ones that do, you'll survive them just like you always have. If I could go back, I'd tell myself to stop carrying the weight of things I cannot change, because peace isn't found in controlling everything. It's found in letting go, and then there's the opinion of others. Invisible chain that holds so many people back. We spend our best years trying to impress, trying to fit in, trying to meet expectations set by people who won't even remember our names decades from now.